Not every person close to you is truly happy to see you heal. Some people stay near you, speak kindly, smile at you, and still feel disturbed when your life becomes clearer, calmer, stronger, and more aligned. That is what makes envy so dangerous, because envy does not always arrive as open hostility. Sometimes it arrives as tension. Sometimes it arrives as emotional distance. Sometimes it arrives as concern that weakens your confidence. Sometimes it arrives as a smile that never feels warm. And if you do not know how to read it, you may keep opening your heart to someone who is quietly uncomfortable with your growth. In this video, you will learn how to recognize envy in someone close to you, how envy usually appears in everyday relationships, why it often hides behind socially acceptable behavior, and what to do to protect your peace without becoming paranoid, bitter, or hard. This is not about suspecting everyone. This is about learning how to read patterns with maturity. By the end of this video, you will be able to identify clear emotional signs that someone close to you may envy your growth, your peace, your confidence, or your healing. You will understand what envy often looks like in real life, how it appears in tone, energy, and repeated reactions, why some people are more comfortable with the broken version of you, and how to respond with self-respect and emotional safety. This message is not here to make you fearful. It is here to make you clear. One of the first things you need to understand is that envy rarely introduces itself honestly. A person who envies you will not usually say that your growth makes her uncomfortable. Instead, envy hides behind emotionally strange reactions that seem small in isolation but revealing in repetition. You share good news, and the energy changes. You open your heart, and the warmth drops. You speak from a place of healing, and something in the room tightens. The words may sound polite, the face may still smile, but something feels off. That matters. Not because every awkward moment proves envy, and not because every tired response means hidden resentment, but because when emotional discomfort becomes a pattern around your peace, your progress, or your joy, it is no longer wise to ignore it. A mature woman does not build conclusions from one moment, but a mature woman also does not keep dismissing repeated signals just because they come wrapped in politeness. You tell someone close to you that you are finally in a healthier place emotionally. Instead of joy, you get a flat response. Instead of warmth, you get distance. Instead of curiosity, you get a quick subject change. Nothing openly rude happened, but the emotional gap is noticeable. That is often where discernment begins. Ask yourself if, when something good happens to you, this person becomes emotionally strange. Ask whether you feel genuinely celebrated or quietly tolerated. Ask whether you leave these conversations feeling lighter or reduced. That is not paranoia. That is pattern recognition. Many women think envy is only about beauty, money, attention, or visible success. But sometimes what people envy most is your peace, your emotional stability, your clarity, your boundaries, and your ability to stop begging for what no longer deserves access to you. That shift can disturb people more than external success ever could, because peace changes your posture. A peaceful woman is harder to manipulate. A clear woman is harder to confuse. A healed woman is harder to keep in cycles of guilt, chaos, and emotional dependency. Not everyone is comfortable with that version of you. Some people were more at ease when you were unsure of yourself, when you explained too much, when you asked for too much validation, and when you were easier to access, easier to influence, and easier to drain. That is why your peace can provoke reactions that your pain never did. You stop over-explaining. You stop chasing closure from people who keep wounding you. You begin to choose calm over drama. And suddenly, someone close to you starts calling you cold, distant, proud, selfish, or difficult. But maybe the issue is not your peace. Maybe the issue is that your peace removed their old access. Not every uncomfortable adjustment is envy. Sometimes people simply need time to adapt to a healthier version of you. But when someone repeatedly resists your peace, questions your growth, or reacts negatively every time you become stronger, that pattern deserves weight. One of the clearest signs of envy is minimization. This happens when someone cannot openly attack your growth, so instead, she reduces its value. She treats your breakthrough like luck. She makes your healing sound ordinary. She responds to your progress with emotional indifference. She quickly lowers the significance of something that deeply matters to you. Minimization is subtle, but it is powerful because it teaches you to doubt your own growth. It quietly sends the message that this is not special, that this is not real progress, that this is not worth honoring, and that you are making too much of it. Healthy people do not need to shrink what is beautiful in your life. They may stay grounded and they may remain balanced, but they do not repeatedly reduce what God is restoring in you. You say that you finally feel stronger and that you do not react the same way anymore. And the other person says that everybody says that at first, or that time will tell. That is not always wisdom. Sometimes it is emotional resistance disguised as realism. This is what emotional shrinking is. Emotional shrinking is when someone repeatedly lowers the beauty, meaning, or importance of what is healing or growing in your life. Once you recognize emotional shrinking, you stop calling everything just personality. You begin to read the pattern. When someone consistently minimizes your growth, stop seeking emotional validation from that person. Stop over-explaining your breakthroughs. Stop handing sacred progress to casual reactions. Protect what is still strengthening inside you. Not every part of your healing belongs in every conversation. Envy often speaks through comparison. A person who envies you may not confront you directly. She may simply compete with moments that were never supposed to be competitions. You share a victory, and she immediately redirects the focus to herself. You talk about healing, and she answers with ranking. You open up about growth, and somehow your moment becomes a scoreboard. That is not healthy connection. That is silent competition. Love knows how to honor your moment without stealing the center of it. A secure person can celebrate without self-inserting. A secure person can listen without competing. A secure person can honor your season without turning it into a contest. You say that you are finally learning how to protect your peace, and instead of engaging with what you said, the other person responds that she learned that a long time ago or immediately shifts to her own story in a way that erases yours. The problem is not that other people share their experiences. The problem is the repeated pattern that your moment rarely gets to remain your moment. This is what celebration gap is. Celebration gap is the emotional distance between what you share and what the other person is able to honor. The bigger that gap becomes, the more carefully you should read the relationship. Ask yourself whether this person can celebrate you without competing with you. Ask whether this person can listen without redirecting the emotional center. Ask whether this relationship feels mutual or subtly comparative. The answer will tell you a great deal. This is one of the most confusing forms of envy because it often sounds wise at first. Some people do not discourage you through direct negativity. They discourage you through concern that creates fear. They warn you excessively. They question every next step. They plant doubt right where confidence was growing. They position themselves as protectors while quietly weakening your trust in your own clarity. Be mature here. Real concern exists. Wise caution exists. Loving counsel exists. But false concern has a different emotional outcome. Healthy concern brings clarity. False concern brings hesitation. Healthy concern strengthens discernment. False concern produces confusion. Healthy concern helps you think. False concern makes you shrink. You finally feel ready to move forward in something healthy, whether it is a friendship, a boundary, a new opportunity, or a new mindset. And instead of balanced counsel, the other person feeds you worst-case scenarios until you start questioning something that was becoming clear. That is not always love. Sometimes that is envy wearing the mask of caution. This is what borrowed concern is. Borrowed concern is when someone uses the language of care while emotionally borrowing from envy, insecurity, control, or comparison. The surface sounds protective, but the impact is destabilizing. Ask yourself whether, after listening to this person, you feel clearer or more confused. Ask whether you feel wiser or more afraid. Ask whether this person helps you discern or only helps you hesitate. That difference matters. Boundaries reveal what words often hide. Many people seem safe while your boundaries are weak. They seem close while your access is open. They seem supportive while your emotional energy is available on demand. They seem loving while you are still easy to reach, easy to influence, easy to guilt, and easy to pull back into old patterns. But once you begin to protect your peace, everything becomes clearer. A healthy person may not love every limit you set, but she will learn to respect it. A person moved by envy, insecurity, emotional entitlement, or control often reacts differently. She may become colder. She may become offended. She may accuse you of changing. She may say you are selfish. She may imply that your healing has made you arrogant. But what is really happening is that your boundary is disrupting the version of you that gave too much access. And not everyone likes losing access to the parts of you they once used casually. You stop answering immediately. You stop over-explaining. You stop making yourself emotionally available to every crisis. You stop saying yes when your spirit already said no. And suddenly, someone who was comfortable with your old openness starts treating you like a problem. That reaction can be deeply revealing, because sometimes your growth does not create the issue. It exposes it. This is what access resistance is. Access resistance is the emotional backlash that appears when someone becomes uncomfortable with your decision to limit access to your time, attention, emotions, or inner life. It does not automatically prove envy by itself, but when it appears together with minimization, comparison, and coldness around your growth, it becomes part of a larger pattern. One reason envy becomes easier to detect later in life is because healing changes your relationship to approval. When you still need constant external validation, you may excuse too much. You may overlook coldness. You may normalize subtle disrespect. You may explain away strange reactions because you still want the relationship to feel safe. But once you become clearer, you start noticing what you used to tolerate. You begin to see that some people were never truly comfortable with your strength. They were only comfortable with your insecurity. They were never truly for your healing. They were simply more at ease when your self-worth was weaker. That realization can be painful because it is hard to admit that a familiar relationship may not be emotionally aligned with your growth. But clarity is kinder than confusion. You start speaking with more confidence. You stop apologizing for healthy boundaries. You no longer collapse emotionally every time someone misunderstands you. And instead of honoring your maturity, someone close to you begins reacting with sarcasm, distance, irritation, or subtle criticism. That response may not be random. It may be the relationship protesting the new version of you. When your healing reveals discomfort in others, do not rush to defend your growth. Do not shrink to preserve false peace. Do not confuse familiarity with emotional safety. Do not keep negotiating your dignity to protect someone else's comfort. Once you begin to recognize these patterns, the answer is not drama. The answer is mature protection. You do not need public conflict for every private realization. You do not need revenge. You do not need accusation. You do not need to label everyone in your life as toxic. But you do need wisdom. Stop overexposing what is healing. Not every relationship deserves full access to your inner life. Some seasons need privacy before they need visibility. If someone has shown repeated discomfort with your growth, do not keep placing fragile parts of your healing in their hands. Read patterns, not moments. Do not build a major conclusion on one awkward interaction, but do not keep dismissing 10 meaningful ones either. Patterns deserve your attention. Reduce emotional dependence. If someone's approval still controls your emotional stability, her hidden resentment will continue to affect you more than it should. The stronger your identity becomes, the less power unhealthy reactions have over your peace. Strengthen boundaries calmly. Wisdom is often quiet. Sometimes maturity looks like less explaining, less access, less emotional oversharing, more observation, more clarity, and more restraint. Keep your heart soft, but protected. Guarding your heart does not mean becoming cold. It means becoming responsible for what enters your inner world. It means refusing to leave your healing unprotected in the hands of people who repeatedly respond poorly to your peace. This is where the verse becomes deeply practical. For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you find disorder and every evil practice. Envy creates disorder. It disturbs peace. It distorts relationships. It quietly poisons emotional environments. It creates confusion where there should be safety. And when you ignore envy in close relationships, you often end up living inside emotional disorder that you cannot fully explain. That is why discernment matters. One of the hardest truths a woman may have to accept is that not everyone close to her is happy to see her heal. Not everyone who stays near her is emotionally safe for her. Not everyone who speaks softly is sincerely for her. Not everyone who knows her story deserves ongoing access to her inner world. Some people like her closeness more than they like her growth. Some people celebrate her pain more easily than her peace. Some people are comfortable walking beside her only when her light is dim enough for them to feel unchallenged. But you do not need to hate them to recognize the pattern. You do not need revenge. You need clarity. You do not need paranoia. You need discernment. You do not need to harden your heart. You need to protect what God is healing in you. Because your peace is precious. Your healing is sacred. Your growth should not have to apologize for existing. And the more clearly you learn to read emotional patterns, the less likely you are to keep offering unrestricted access to people who are quietly disturbed by the woman you are becoming. Your growth deserves protection. Your peace deserves wisdom. And your heart deserves relationships that do not resent its healing. Which sign became clearer to you today?